I think that Inferno Shrine Battleground ban pick is due to Dami alone. I think Dami's Sonya or Kerrigan is just way too powerful. If you let him on any of those heroes, you're going to have a tough time. So I think that's a great Battleground ban to have from the first start. And then it's going to be Dragonshire. So the globals will matter a lot. Let's see how the draft goes.
Here we go, game number 1. And we are starting things off with Blue Ban. It is Team Mighty. And we haven't seen the approach that Mighty wants to take against Miracle just yet. Or apparently Moralse now.
I just noticed. It's like Mira Ice.
Yeah, I will definitely send a text message about that. But anyway, so Zeratul will be first ban, so it's another target ban on Dami. Here's the Genji ban. This is not unusual. I think Mighty should take Malfurion here, though.
Let's see if they go for a Falstad here, as you mentioned, the win rate on their Falstad is not the highest. So they're deciding Zeratul is just constant ban, is one of the most banned here, if not the most banned in Korea especially. There's that Falstad, and now we're going to see another Dehaka coming off from Dami.
Now you give the Malfurion Dehaka.
That's right.
And Miracle may change up their style, of course, now, because they've shown so much of this style that it becomes very obvious to Mighty what they're running. But, you know, I think if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know, I do think that they're very practiced on this and that they should take what's worked for them so far. This is another map that's actually really good for Stitches because of all the walls and pathing. Like, for example, between the mid and bot lanes, there's a lot of different walls you can hook over and pull a target into a position where he can't retreat. They're going to prioritize the Zebo for the scaling over Malfurion, however, and take Dehaka with him.
Having the global and the late game power is what they needed, and maybe they're even considering giving up Tychus. Miracle has been picking Tychus in their second rotations, if not banned in the second. There it is! Exactly as we called out. Mighty, after studying yesterday's series, is taking both of them.
Did not expect them to take both, to be honest. I actually thought they'd play around this, taking the Malfurion to leave the Stitches out of the equation. But see how good Joker is on the Stitches this evening. So I think that the Zebo ban is also partially to remove that from SDE, even though it's the best late game scaling hero for the map. You don't want to have Falstad and Zebo against you for the double late game scaling, and have SDE of all players on Nazebo. So I like this choice by Miracle, but they do lose their combo with this. They've been using so well. But are you really going to do well if you're going to run your opponent's best tools against them? If they know how to play it, they know how to play against it.
Of course, Rag banning against Mighty seems to be one of the best answers, as they already have some range damage with Falstad. They only need one more DPS. And there are lots of DPS choices, so going around with Ragnaros seems to be the safer choice. And Mighty just went with the Muradin. Honkono seems to be overly even more confident on that Muradin compared to his anything else like Tyrael or ETC. So there was the ban.
Yeah, I wonder
I think this is a Tychus around here.
I think the reason why Miracle bans Ragnaros is because they are just trying to limit now Sans' hero pool. Because what is Sans going to play in the solo lane here?
That's right, and also pairs up the Smash connecting with Hook with the Root. It's just a kill for sure. There's no escaping from that. So
I like how Miracle's approaching this. But you do mention the Tychus. I think that's going to be a great hero to top into the 4-man. Good wave clear, good pushing power. Sergeant Hammer's another option that also scales really well. Post 20. Tyrael leans towards the Hammer. Is he going to grab it or just going to grab the support here? That's the question. Will be the Karazim, so going to save the last DPS pick for Flex. Crazy moving is doesn't look too happy about it.
Not really. As
I'm not entirely sure why.
I think it's partially because they lost their Stitches and both Malfurion. But even with that, Miracle still has, I think they have a very, very decent comp for the late game. They just have to stall time, of course. Not having that Falstad would be a little bit problem when you try to save that Nazeba. But you have Tyrael for the Sanctification. You can even go for Palm for Darvish. But maybe you need more damage. I think 7-sided will be the better option. to have Nazebo's late game scaling.
Also, the 7-sided is going to be so good against Stitches because he doesn't have an escape. If you actually hook him or pull him into a bad situation, those heroes just won't be able to get out. So just being able to remove Stitches early on will make 7-side very strong. Mighty, what's your second DPS going to be here? Ragnaros was removed. It's going to be Hammer, and for Sands, it's going to be Anubarak. So actually could be Sands on the Stitches. It's unlikely, but possible that he plays that, and Joker plays the Anubarak, so they could have a little bit of a role swap, but I doubt it. And looking at terms of play time,
I think Joker
not a single game of Anubarak from Sands.
And Joker has some experiences also from 2016. He's been on Stitches sometimes,
yes.
Not too often. There's that last Tychus picks, as we talked about. It's going to chunk down a lot of % damage onto Dragon Knight also, and there's Anubarak and Stitches on the other side. So great pickup at the end. Interesting
about the Hammer, I think it's just going to make the 4-man stronger. And they're going to use the Napalm, delay some Unleashes of Dragon Knights, for example. Scales really well in the late game, better than Tychus will. So, we're going to go into Dragonshire. Game number 1, the Stitches draft goes to Mighty. Can they use it as well, paired with the Malfurion, as we saw from Miracle yesterday? That's what we're going to find out right now as we go to game number 1 of our second round of HGC KR Playoffs. In blue, Team Mighty. Joker on Stitches, Sands on Anubarak, Boggy on Hammer, Nasang on Malfurion, and SDE on Falstad.
And in red, MVP Miracle. Uncon on Tyrael, Dami on Dehaka, Sniper on Tychus, Crazy Moving on Nazebo, and Darvish on Kerzi.
All right. So it is going to be Sands on the Anubarak. His first career game of the hero. It's only been Joker who's played it. Joker's actually played it twice. Stitches once this season. Not, of course, referring to his play back in 2016 or even 2015, where Stitches was quite a bit more meta in Korea. So Stitches will threaten a lot here in the early game, and that's going to be very annoying to deal with for MVP Miracle. Remember, they have the scaling of late game on the Nazebo. This is the first failed hook combo. But picking off Nazebo early is going to be one of the ways you can really limit how well he scales and how quickly he scales.
He's going to take a longer time to get those stacks, and also cutting off one means it's going to be harder to team fight for the other team.
Interesting also that Joker goes for the Slam upgrade at 1 instead of Dampen Magic. Against the Nazebo, Dampen Magic is so powerful for you in the front line. So very surprising talent pick. Also the Anubarak Regen Master, so just wants to get a little bit more tanky, and perhaps will be doing a lot of roaming. Or just wants it to be there for more sustain in the soul lane before Falstad is up there. Either way, those are the unusual talent picks. Actually, Regen Master for Tyrael as well. But besides all that, it's pretty standard. Remember, this is pre-Dahaka's level 1 talent nerf, so still has really good wave clear. That patch will be for Crucible next week.
Yeah, that's right. You see this contest, Dehaka even comes all the way down. There's a great grab onto Sergeant Hammer. That's going to be the first kill, going to Miracle. SDE comes down a little bit slower. Actually misses. Seems like he's also missing the wave on top. Great start to MVP Miracle, of course, with that pick. Sergeant Hammer, exactly what they needed.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just good rotational play, very good coordination by Miracle. The body blocks there as well. One of the powers of Dahaka on this map is the brush shot can actually catch someone like that to help body block. They're going to look for the Dragon Knight Unleashed. They will get it very early on, 2:15.
I feel like that was given a little bit too easily. I think Mighty could have stalled some time. They had Falstad and Sergeant Hammer right next to Dami.
Dami's not even worried about the Dragon Knight sustainability. He's just going to continue to poke and do some damage because this is very early Dragon Knight. Not going to do too much for you anyways. Going to get the kick. Right. And he's probably just going to get the last hit on that tower. While meanwhile, in the bot lane, a lot of pressure is put on. So going to get 2 cannon towers already. It's actually setting the Dragon Knight top a little bit of harassment there. That's where the Nubarak kick actually dodged there by the burrow charge.
That's the power of Nubarak. The Dragon Knight does so much damage to the structures, just chunks down the tower, and it's all for the late game scaling. They have Nazeebo, they want to have as much experience as possible from before. That's the perfect hook. Actually, Zombie will not helping Crazy moving there.
Yeah, that's going to be another kill here. This time on the side of Mighty, but they do get the counter grab. Will they be able to get the pick onto SDE? Honkono's coming in. Doesn't even want to commit to the smite there. Too risky with the stitches on the other side. Ping goes down, but they're just going to let this go. So finally the hook combo actually works out. And we are approaching level 7 for both teams, but the structural lead goes to Miracle, who actually, remember, have that scaling that you mentioned. So they're very happy with this situation where they're just going to sit back and continue to get stacks for Nazeebo. He needs 175 for his late game Vile Infection. Just looking at the talents. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Nothing to see. Don't even need to look at the top of your screen there. So faster take on this cap with the extra wave clear and AoE that Dami has on the Dahaka, but that does give them a little bit of pushing power down here from Mighty. With the heroes missing, they're actually going to look to try to take down a cannon tower. No ammo actually on the second one. So Honkono comes in for the flank. They still don't have any way to really punish anybody here. And again, there's the Stitches and the Malfurion. So if they overextend and get hooked, they're going to regret it.
That's exactly why that slam build is getting the power onto Stitches. They want to have that wave clear as soon as possible and try to get the hooks after the minions are cleared. So you can have a better chance of hooking someone. And just one talent because of the Stitches and the root combo on the other side. Tychus, let's go for Relentless Soldier instead of quarterback. Yeah. It's going to reduce down a lot of damage when you're rooted.
Super important against this type of composition. Dami with the hook. Not going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but actually pretty nice to be winning in lane like that against two members. Joker doesn't really have an escape here. And Sniper does activate his passive, but not going to be a kill. This Joker just taps and heals. There's a hook. No follow-up root, but Honkono already using his Aldruins. Okay, never mind. He actually thought he used it. But look at that root. That root is sick. Not even paired with a grab. It doesn't matter. It stops the retreat. Well done. Will they be able to get out of here? Sergeant Hammer does go down. SDE gets the heal. Gets hit by the grenade, but will escape just barely there. Well, that root was really impressive.
Nasang was having the perfect root at the right place. Barely in range for the root. But also had the entire team was a little bit aggressive trying to get the kill, especially because Sergeant Hammer actually got the last auto attack hit onto Tyrael. She was over the boundaries of safety, and it costed her life, but it's a good trade for Mighty.
Level 10 is about to be hit for both teams. It's here for Mighty now.
Alone here. There's no way of escaping.
No way out of this one. Nice coordination by Mighty with these rotations. This actually could be potentially an opportunity to take both shrines and get the Dragon Knight. They're rotating down here. Miracle's kind of overextended right now. Okay, they take the long way though, so this will give some time for Miracle. We'll probably see one hook attempt because he's still mounted. Misses it. That's going to be that for the time being. Odin is committed to it. It was actually being held for a long time there by Sniper, but he is going to commit to the more common heroic here. Not going to go for the Draken Laser Drill. And it is Cocoon coming out for Sands as well.
No Gorge. This time, maybe Gorge with Cocoon could also be a very good pair-up combo, limiting 2 off of the other team and making it into 3-5 team fight. Could have worked, but this time it's going to be Vile for Stitches, putting on some extra AoE damage around the team fight. They also have Gust to disengage, so safer. Root here comes Sniper. Does get rooted, but
that Relentless Soldier, man, you can really see it in effect here as he gets double CC'd, but still has enough armor to actually last through that damage. Cocoon is used here, though. Dami actually has to burrow. Honkono's going to Sanctification here to try to save him. Darvish gets over, gets the heal off, but now Sniper's isolated. Down goes the Twilight Dream, and that's another pick here for Mighty. They're starting to really take a big lead in this game.
Cocooning Tychus when he's right on into that Odin. So they would limit the damage of coming out, the burst damage coming out from Odin. Mighty had the better HP, health in the beginning of the fight, throughout the fight, and that Twilight Dream at the end to do the rest of the damage. That was exactly what they needed.
It wasn't even really about the silence, it was just the extra little bit of damage. So Joker's going to go ahead and unleash this Dragon Knight. Honkono doesn't even commit to the Aldruins. He can't actually find this. So let's see how much damage Mighty gets done, because this is now an 8-minute Dragon Knight, not a 2-minute Dragon Knight. So it's a lot stronger in terms of what it can do with its auto attacks to structures. And, you know, this is going to be where Mighty looks to try to snowball this game. They're not going to be able to get a keep or anything off of this, but if they could get a fort, that would be pretty significant. Very, very passive and conservative play with the Dragon Knight. They want to shove this lane first, it looks like, to draw the attention away from Miracle so that actually the Dragon Knight will be able to hit mid. And that's exactly what we're seeing. He kicks Tychus, and this push is going on at the same time. So both forts will be pretty significantly damaged by this, especially with a siege tank push like this. Okay, here's another kick. Just removing Tychus specifically because he does so much damage to the Dragon Knight. And this will finally be forced away. Gonna probably get one hit maybe on the fort. Not even gonna risk it. Even though he's a new Brock, he just doesn't want to commit to that. So actually only getting about a half of the mid fort and like a 10% or so of the bot fort.
They weren't even too much aggressive when they were a talent level up, when Miracle just hit 13 and the Dragon Knight's time was almost expired. Mighty playing super safe today compared to the team comp they have. Even the team fight, it wasn't too aggressive. They just did everything as it said. I'm pretty sure in the comp it wasn't like, oh my god, we have to do this, we have to do this. No, it was like, hey, just press the R. Twilight Dream seems to be needed at the end. How about now, so you just walk in, press that R. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
it was very calm.
Yeah,
it feels
that way, for sure. Definitely very much, I'd say, well-versed on what they're trying to do. And not going to take any unnecessary risks. The problem with playing like that, though, into the Nazeebo composition is that it's just going to be so powerful. Like, mark my words, we see those late-game team fights. Mighty will remember in that moment just how strong Nazeebo is. And we see Crazy Moving just protected by this double front line. The Dahaka, the Tyrael Sanctification protects him too. He just drops like 2 Qs down because he has cooldown reduction at 16 and just auto attacks a few people. And it's going to really hurt.
That's right. And it's going to be a little bit tough to get a kill on Dami, but just getting that adaptation out would be worth the gank. SD is looking for that ankle and try to make this camp push as strong as possible.
It's a really strong push here, actually. Even having that one beetle to eat a turret shot. Okay, so Dragon Knight will be available in 15 or so seconds, 20 seconds now. Mighty is going to have level 16 advantage. They're looking for this push onto the fort, actually, in the bot lane. Sergeant Hammer is so well protected by the Stitches Malfurion combo. Miracle is a little bit timid. They do finally send Crazy Moving over. This is actually spotted by Joker. This is a little bit risky, to be honest, especially because Sands could just come down here. And Mubrak, we don't talk about this too often, but he's actually pretty good at Merc Cap control because he can just disrupt everyone who's standing on it with his burrow charge. He's probably going to look to help invade. And I actually really respect, most teams would just have fought for that, but Miracle just said, you know what, against the Stitches and Nubrak, I'm going to let this go. Unfortunately, they didn't take anything else during this time. Dahaka didn't actually retake the top shrine, so not only is this cap stolen by Mighty, but they get the Dragon Knight and almost a kill into Honkono. So many objectives all taken at once.
I think Miracle was doing fine until this moment. I think Snowball is going to form and starts to get bigger from this moment on. They had all 3 forts up, but now a fort down. Even this second keep wall is pretty damaged, and it's in the middle lane. And Joker will be looking for that hook consistently.
Oh!
There's a hook, but there's Aldruins away.
I mean, I know he got the Aldruins off, but you still have to give respect to that hook.
I think it's like close to 6 out of 7 right now from what we saw on screen.
Yeah.
Joker's hooks are on point, and SDE.
I never thought Korean meta would have gone full EU G-Clef, but I guess we've done it. I guess.
I think it's also because Nazeebo comes to Rise, and it makes Nazeebo's job a little bit tougher to get that stack if you want to get close. If you want to get that stack, you have to be close, but if you're close, you get hooked. So it's kind of a soft counter to Nazeebo, I would say, in this meta.
Yeah. Back in 2015, early 2016, was used against Lieutenant Morales play quite a bit. It's because if you want to be in position for the heals, and there's the Stitches out there. It's a lot tougher to play the Morales. Complete slam build, by the way, coming out for Stitches. The exception of his level 7 talent. He's gone full slam. The dash quest is complete, actually pretty early here for Tychus.
And actually, no holy ground at 16. Looks like Miracle just wants to give up the objective and go for more damage later on.
Yeah, and this is a map where you don't have a boss, so you don't need it as much. It's still good for merc caps and for cutting members off, but wide areas like this one, you're not going to find much with the holy ground.
And this time Darvish went for cleansing touch.
Yeah.
Miracle knows the power of those hooks and roots connecting.
Of course, they showed nothing but that all night yesterday, so just like respecting the composition, respecting their opponents, and the draft and the style that they really popularized. The Blood for Blood's also going to give a lot of extra damage to the Anub'arak when he dives in, so we'll slow him and give MVP Miracle a moment to maybe just blow him up with 7-sided. So we're in a situation where, had Mighty gotten the keep, I'd be really, really worried for Miracle, but because they kept it alive in that last Dragon Knight, this is still a game where I would actually give Miracle a very good chance of coming back because they're still have all their keeps. They're, yes, going to be at a very long period of time where their opponents have 20, but they're just getting stronger and stronger by the moment. And when they get 20, a Violent Infection will be done 100%.
When Mighty hits 20, that's the time they should go for the Dragon Knight. Try to have those team fights instead of those picks, because if you do not have a team fight and look for picks instead, when you have the lead, and here comes the chance.
No one, again, to deny. They're all 4-man in the bot here, but they couldn't even, with the 4-man, actually deny the Dragon, or rather the channel. So they should have probably been trying to interrupt the Unleash in mid if they weren't going to actually be able to push down there. So I think kind of an unusually poor rotation by Miracle. And this is the second Dragon Knight this game that happened like this, where Mighty just kind of took it for free. So you're like, oh, I'm going to take a Dragon Knight. Like, oh, okay. Honkono gets rooted here, but he does Aldruin's out. But this is the keep that they need so desperately right now. So Mighty is going to try to commit to this. As Falset's actually continue to split push top, which is obviously going to be important later on, but could be here now.
Having more pressure on top and bottom is going to have a lot more pressure for Miracle's side, and they still need 2 full levels. Mighty's taking this a little bit slower than they should.
They don't get this keep.
It's
I'm not sure
low.
if they can anyway. They should just use napalm.
Think,
They should just napalm this. Okay, so even going to commit to the siege mode just to make sure. And they're going to get this top fort, which is going to eventually allow them to maybe push down the top keep, which is usually not significant unless you have a strong split pushing hero like the Falstad. So just has a gust. See you later.
This is fairly enough mana for it too.
So Sergeant Hammer now has the Nexus Frenzy, the late game scaling for a little while here. Good hook comes off. This is the moment where Miracle is going to have to try to turtle and make sure that this bot push doesn't actually ruin their core health while also maintaining the rest of their keeps. This is a sieging composition with the Sergeant Hammer, so and even the Beetles can actually really help push this. They need to make sure they don't lose a second keep, because that might just be checkmate.
And Anub'arak still holding the 20. Let's see if it's going to be shield or the rewind or anything else popping up. And Epic Mon, of course, is just so powerful right now when that shrine forms after. They're going to get another Dragon Knight very likely. I think Miracle needs a lot more time since they're not really soaking anywhere. Even Dehaka joins for the fight to try to protect this keep. Even has to pop that adaptation now.
Yeah, and that's part of that. Part of that actually happens on the larger route at level 16, which is a talent that was really kind of used exclusively with the Stitches right now. So maybe he wasn't thinking about how large that route was going to be when it did come up. Ooh, that was close. That was very, very close. Could have been a dead Darvish, but this keep is still being pressured. They're not going to commit heavily to try to finish it off or anything like that, but they really are nearly there. SD is just trying to help. He's trying to desperately catch up. Wants to hit that 20. 17 minutes into the game, this Dragon Knight, if Mighty gets it again, will crush that mid keep so easily.
And there's a rewind onto Anub'arak and Bolt on the Stitches. Let's see if they want to. There's 20 now, MVP Miracle. They've been waiting for 17 and 35 seconds for this moment, and Joker gets caught. There's a great body block, which is Bolt's away.
7-side strike used way early there for Darvish. Not going to have that available for escape or for attack in this fight that's about to ensue. Kono hyper aggressive, looking for the big sanctification. He did upgrade it at 20. If Mighty takes this, then SDE with this lane push will be able to channel, so they need to actually make sure that this doesn't get taken. This is a huge moment here. MB Miracle cannot falter. Vial Infection, I assume, is completed.
It was just popped on the screen.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at all the talents at that moment.
And it's going to do a lot of damage, but when Crazy Moving comes nearby, wow, look at the spider damage onto Nubarak, just one skill. That's the power. And Falstad has been pushing, really pressuring this top lane.
It's actually going to be retaken by Dahaka very briefly. Which means he could try to brush talk to steal it. That's why they actually sent SDE mid, to make sure this doesn't happen. Otherwise, you have the two Dragon Knights Mighty just caught back-to-back, very similar. Okay, no hooks, no dice. Now that the scaling is reached for Miracle, and they're actually staying in the spot lane, so the catapult pressure is never hitting their core, you can start to mount a comeback, and the team fighting is always going to be kind of in their favor in terms of DPS. Look at this. Magi actually has to use thrusters, because he's like, I am not dealing with that. So Crazy Moving can't get picked, though. He needs to make sure he survives. Look at all the damage done here by Sergeant Hammer. But she has Giant Killer.
There's a root onto Tychus, but was already rooted. The hook is going to be ignored. There's a 7-sided strike, and Stitches will have both again.
Such a good fight here for Miracle. Crazy Moving staying alive. SDE on the retreat here.
Has the Gust available.
Yeah. Looks like he just wants to use it for a kill secured. Sand's actually super aggressive here. Yeah, we'll have to burrow charge out of that situation. Look at how much damage Sniper could do. Let's finally get away there. So neither team's able to get the Dragon Knight. Once again, the hook misses. Going for the Gust! And Darvish gets silenced immediately.
Didn't even have 7-sided strike. SDE gets low, but it's 4v4 right now. Sands is taking a lot of damage, all coming from Crazy Moving alone, but actually gets very low from Magi. Magi's onto the
Look at his damage. Look at Magi's damage coming out. Sniper's in trouble. This is a dead keep for sure. Looks like they want to do it with the Dragon Knight. You can see Honkono's already heading up top to try to buy time. But if he actually heavily commits to contesting this, he will die, as Mighty's actually setting the 3-man up. Not even going to have one squatting mid. This could be disastrous. Sniper's already caught. Gets hooked. One more shot will do it. The Bolt committed to here with the Bile. Sanctification goes down here. They want to make this a trade, but I don't think they can.
And I think it's going to be very tough for Honkono to even escape. Actually, goes off to the right instead.
Still goes down, though, and that's the full wipe, just barely there. 8 seconds until Darvish is up. But this is going to be a Dragon Knight, and they're going to try to walk down mid with this.
They can take almost all the keeps left, or even try to go for the core when the Nubarak is back.
Look at the catapults. They're on the core, 3 of them now. And Darvish and Dami are now the only ones to try to stop this. Very soon, Crazy Moving will be back, so...
They could have got the Dragon Knight a little bit later because the Nubarak was still on the death timer, but the Haka could come at any moment, so they had to get the Dragon Knight.
They're going to go core here. We're at 21 minutes. Core. They're scared of the extra scaling the Zebo could have, and this Dragon Knight's going to do so much damage.
They're missing 2 at the moment. Joker actually gets significant amount of damage, but there's the Gust. It's going down so fast, so quickly, 30% left.
There's a bold core call, but I think it is going to work out for Mighty in the end. They do take it down and take game number 1 on Dragonshire. Very, very well done.